the first thing they did announce was Little Kitty Big City, which this one I'm excited for. Emily's losing it.
Is it? I don't know if it's the...
I'm going to switch to the present screen. I should have done that too so you could see it.
The rhyming in the title, or the way it's such like a soft and cute name, and you said it with all the seriousness in the world. Our first one up is Little Kitty Big City.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast hosted by myself and Scaredy Cat McGee over there.
Gave me a jump scare.
I do every time.
I'm not gonna lie. I know. It was a rough one this time, though. I was reading, I was thinking, I was looking at the open window in my room and debating on whether or not I wanted to close it, but deciding I didn't have enough time to do so. I was really lost in thought.
Listen, and what did I tell you about thinking? Only bad things happen when you think. Truly a negative experience. 0 out of 10. Would not recommend.
I'll try to stop.
Speaking of which, hi everybody. We have actually been thinking a lot about how we never posted about Hideo Kojima. Like we were supposed to months ago.
Well, we were supposed to do it for Spoopy Month. And that's where we're at.
And then we didn't, because we didn't watch the videos. And then we kept putting it off.
Yeah, life got busy. But honestly, I think it's kind of a miracle we've made it this far into, or at least for me, that we've made it into this far into a gaming podcast. And I've never talked in depth about PT because it is a game I'm so incredibly passionate about, and a game that I really credit with getting me into the horror genre to begin with. So it's kind of impressive that we made it this far without me writing a love letter to it via podcast.
Actually, I don't know why, and I'm not going to mention what it is here. I'll tell you about it after. It just gave me an idea. I don't know why. I just got the great idea for another episode when it's not a game review. I'm not going to say it now. I want to keep it under wraps. I think it would be interesting. It also has guest star potential.
Ooh.
And as soon as I tell you what it is, you're going to know who that person should be. It'll be very easy.
Okay.
Anywho, there are other things we need to talk about today. Obviously, there was a surprise indie direct yesterday. There was, there's
no, the indie direct was. Oh, it was yesterday. I wasn't paying attention at all. I didn't even know what was happening.
So I watch every morning. I watch every weekday morning. I watch a news YouTube channel. It just goes over what happened the day prior or what's been going on. And he's like, yeah, in a few hours there'll be an indie direct. I'm like, I had no clue. Okay, well, I know what I'm doing later. Is watching.
Do you think that means then we're not getting the direct people predicted for April that would announce Switch 2?
Here's the thing. I don't think they're ready to. So Nintendo announced the Switch a year early, didn't they? Or at least 6 months early.
I really don't know, but I'm hitting a point, and like we discussed about Princess Peach's Showtime, I'm hitting a point where I really feel like, you know that one meme where it's like, I think a turtle or something laying on the ground and the guy's poking with a stick and he's like, do something.
Come on, do something.
That's how I feel about Nintendo. Like, I think when like a year or two ago when people were like, Switch 2 announcements, I was like, nah, guys, like we got time. Tears of the Kingdom still got to come out. We got like all this other stuff going on. And now even the mainline titles coming out for Switch are not performing very well. There's not any big titles on the horizon. What are we doing?
You know why, right?
No.
The Switch 2 was supposed to be out this year. They had to push it back a year. Like, we were supposed to have an announcement because it just wasn't ready. And unlike the developers for Cyberpunk 2077 and Pokemon, when they're not ready, and they don't.
And I guess the thing is, like, I appreciate that they're taking their time, and I would rather them be ready, but I feel like then you have to fill that with qualities. Like, guys, again, all you would have to do is bring this game to the Switch, and I could make it another year, easy. This is all I want from you at this point. Like, that's all you have to do.
That you gave her the other thing that she wanted, which is Paper Mario, and now you have to give her the other thing that she wants.
Yeah, I mean, Paper Mario is great, and I'm really excited for it, and I think that is a good thing, but this is kind of when you suddenly have a year to fill because your new console is supposed to come out, now it's not coming out. You have to find some good stuff to throw at your consumers to keep them interested, especially, you know, when PlayStation and Xbox are releasing all this stuff. Isn't a really simple solution to that to just bring in ports of old games that you already have ready to go? They could sell me, I don't even need a remaster, I don't need a remake. They could sell me a straight up port for $60 or $70 and I would pay for it.
See, this is where I think the Switch, where Nintendo kind of messed up, was because they have been steadily releasing ports every year since the Switch released. Mostly Wii U ports. We've mostly gotten Wii U ports and some remakes of Wii games, like Wii Sports is now Switch Sports, whatever.
And Skyward Sword.
And Skyward Sword. We've gotten ports. I think the issue is they're like, all right, these are everything we're bringing, and they weren't expecting to hit a point where like, oh, we're not ready. We don't have anything. I think the problem is, I don't want to say they don't have anything. I think they do have Wind Waker in their back pocket and Twilight Princess in their back pocket.
Play the card.
Yeah, I'm just shocked. I'm with you. I'm shocked they haven't played the card. I think they have it ready, but they just don't want to play the card.
Well, we've talked about this too. Like, you know, you always say Pokemon or something like that, but like, what is the Switch 2 even going to offer me in terms of a release game? What would even be the game that comes out along with it? I don't feel like we need a new Smash Bros. Or a Mario Kart because the one we have has so much to it. Like, we just finished getting the booster passes for those. We are not going to get another Animal Crossing for potentially 4 years. We just got a new Zelda yesterday. Like, what are you going to offer me with this console?
We haven't had a 3D Mario game since Odyssey in 2017. It has been a very long time. It's been 7 years.
Yeah, but we just had Mario Wonder. You got Peach's Showtime.
3D Mario specific. 3D Mario and 2D Mario are two different worlds.
Yeah, but it's a Mario game.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and let you yuck my yum. So yeah, we need a 3D Mario. We don't need another Luigi's Mansion. That's another port that's coming out. After Paper Mario, the other port we're getting is Luigi's Mansion 2. And I've never, ever have heard anyone go, ooh, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon needs a port. I don't think anybody cares. Also, that game released on the 3DS for $40 and is releasing on the Switch for $60. Emily's making a fair point. I can't argue the point there. Here's my fear if they do Twilight Princess, though. If they do Twilight Princess, they're going to do the Wii port and not the GameCube port.
Honestly, Twilight Princess at this point, I think, needs a remake or a remaster.
It needs a better story. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Me, you know a huge part of me, for good or for bad, for better or for worse, a huge part of my ability to enjoy something is the aesthetic it is presented in, and I despise the aesthetic of Twilight Princess. I hate everything about it. I hate the art style so much, and I know that's such a controversial opinion because everyone's like, it's so pretty. I hate it. And I think a remake, I mean, yeah, it'd be the same art style, but it would be a little bit nicer graphics. So maybe that could tempt me to play again.
If you ever need to die on a hill of Blake and Emily don't agree on anything, just remember the one thing we will always agree on is that Twilight Princess is the worst 3D Zelda game. By far. Yeah. Not even close.
Yeah. Yeah. If we can't go down a ranking of 3D Zeldas right now. We can't do that. We have to move on.
Okay, we have to move on. Okay, let's talk about the Indie Direct because we've been talking Nintendo. I think it has some pretty decent offerings. I'll talk about them. I'll bring them all up, but I'll go in detail about.
I know we didn't get Silk Song. We
did not get Silk Song, and the end. When I watched the end, they're like, "I think we have time for one more announcement." I'm like, "You guys are going to disappoint a lot of people saying that," and they did.
Always like the one thing where they wait to the very last item to be like, "Oh, we actually have something in our back pocket. Here it is. It's garbage. Thanks. So glad you came to the Direct. Bye."
The first thing they did announce was Little Kitty Big City, which this one I'm excited for. Emily's losing it. Let it out. She's laughing so hard it's not even coming through the microphone. It's the best part. And she froze.
What if that didn't impacts me more?
I think we found our intro to the podcast. This was easy.
Is it? I don't know if it's the...
I'm going to switch to the present screen. I should have done that too so you could see it.
The rhyming in the title, or the way it's such like a soft and cute name, and you said it with all the seriousness in the world. Our first one up is Little Kitty Big City. Oh my God.
We've broken her.
Little Kitty Big City.
I'm going to keep going while she's breaking down. This is a game where you're a cat, you fell out of a window. You're trying to find your way back home. Your laughing is making me laugh. I can't stop. Okay. All right, I'm back. You
It's a frog cat. It looks like it's eating something.
You think Untitled.
He looks like he caught his mom having an affair.
She's killing herself now at this point. Oh, I need to fix you. I realized I'm very out of frame. My God. Okay. Little Kitty Big City.
Sing. Tell me about Little Kitty Big City.
You're a cat. You fell out of your apartment. And you're trying to find your way home. On your way home, you're going to be doing a lot of quests, kind of like Untitled Goose Game, where you're going to cause mischief. At the same time, you can help people out. You can unlock these little hats that make it look like you just...
The crab looks like little Sebastian from the Little Mermaid, when Ariel goes up to the surface, and he's like...
I know what Emily's picking up on May 9th. I know Emily's picking this up now on 8. You have to. We both have to at this point. We have no...
I want to play.
Huh?
I want to play it so bad. If you know my other weakness about games, it's cute outfits.
I think they said there was over... No. Chia has over 100 outfits. This one, I don't remember how many. There's a lot of hats, though. Moving on. Atari's making a game called Yars Rising. It's a Metroidvania.
That's all I get to know about Little Kitty Big City.
I just told you the premise.
All right, whatever. I don't care about anime. Move on.
Yeah, it's a 2D Metroidvania. It's whatever. I don't care. This next one I've heard about when it came to Steam. It's coming to Switch. It's called Remind Self, the personality game. It is literally a game, and based on your choices, it gives you like your personality breakdown.
That's too introspective. That would make me nervous.
I'm gonna try it. I think it's a good thing to try at least once. I mean, if it's like
I'm up for trying it, but I feel like it's gonna get to the end. It's gonna be like, whoa, we have a lot to.
There's 23 outcomes. Sticky Business. I don't really remember too much, to be honest. So whatever.
Right.
Atana Blast. That is like the pizza game with the running and the 2D pizza game. I can't remember. Pizza Time. That's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This game looked cool. Valley Peaks. It looks gorgeous. It is going to be a first-person climbing platformer. I don't know if you're going to be super into it, but I want to try it. It's a puzzle game too, so I'm in.
I see it says something about the froggy inhabitants.
Yep, they're frogs. The inhabitants are frogs. You talk to frogs.
Sounds fun.
Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is a very it looked interesting enough. It is very much a puzzle game though. I love puzzle games. I'm willing to try it.
Right, that looks interesting.
TMNT Splitter's Fate. It was an Apple Arcade game. It's coming to Switch. Whatever. Who cares?
People still consume Teenage Ninja Turtles?
Yes.
Things?
Big time.
Okay.
Big time. Europa is a 3D action platformer. It looks incredible.
Somebody played Breath of the Wild.
Every game is Breath of the Wild now. Hold on.
Somebody said, "Wow, that was really pretty. I could do that."
It's watching the trailer. It looks very interesting, and I definitely want to try it. It looks really, really, really good.
I'm sure it's very good. It looks very pretty.
Cat Quest 3. It's been on my list because I need to play Cat Quest 1 and 2, and then they announced Cat Quest 3, and now I need to play Cat Quest 1 and 2. They're just RPGs, and you're a cat. So 2 cat games.
Fun.
Stitch is literally a game about stitching. You go colors.
I thought this was going to be a reference to the Disney character.
No, it's like Stitch. It's a stitching puzzle game.
Okay.
To be honest, it could have been a mobile game, but that's all I'll say. Bzzzt is another Metroidvania style game. It looks more interesting than the other one.
Do you think this is one of those situations where I would just absolutely love to be in whatever conference room decided to name this game
Bzzzt.
Or they're like, we really need a game for this, like, whatever we're doing. They're like, well, you make a lot of, like, machine sounds in the game. What about, like, buzz?
You
like, how do you spell it? How do you spell it?
B-Z-Z-Z-T.
B-Z-T. Awesome. Let it go. We love it.
Great. Schism is this one looked weird, and I love it. You are a creature that can only be in shadow, so you have to jump shadow to shadow to get to where you want to go. So
like Nico D'Angelo from Percy Jackson.
Sure.
Cool.
Sure.
Cool bean.
I probably will pick up Schism. Skim, not Schism. Skim. It looked interesting.
Whim.
Animal Well, I honestly don't remember, so it didn't leave an impact on me.
It looks scary.
It does. Duck Detective: The Secret Salami, I will definitely be picking up.
His name is Eugene McQuacklin.
Yep. And I'm picking this game up.
It's giving Paper Mario. Is it the first or the second one? I think it's the first, where you go to the penguin town.
First.
And there's the murder, and you have to, like, solve the murder with the penguin detective.
Spoiler alert.
This is the vibe it's giving.
Spoiler alert. She ain't dead.
Oh, I was like, for a game that... You're giving me a spoiler alert for a game that came out... When did Paper Mario SCC4 come out? 1996?
Yeah, a long time ago.
You can't have a spoiler alert for a game that's more than 25 years old.
Next is the Souls-like Another Crab's Treasure. It's Souls-like and not a Souls-born.
This isn't the first time we've seen this trailer.
No, we've seen it a million times, but it's coming out Thursday. It comes out the day before Stellar Blade.
No, just call it Stellar Booty. Let's just be real with it.
We have to. Thank you. Shout out King Urokami for making me say that all the time now. The cool thing about this Souls-like is if you don't want it to be a Souls-like and you want easy mode, there is gun mode where instead of you fighting with weapons, you just shoot everything in one shot.
I like that. That's fun. I like when games make things easy for me.
Yeah. And this was the big last reveal with SteamWorld Heist 2. I played the first
What am I looking at?
It's a 2D game. It's a 2D puzzle platformer.
The second man is so dapper.
I played the first SteamWorld Heist. It's fine. It's nothing to write home about, but people love it, so it was enough to get us there.
Interesting. Okay.
And that was the showcase. Now, Emily has been holding in her news from me, so I'm ready to hear what she has to say.
I knew you wouldn't approve of it.
Say it.
Happy Taylor Swift release day for everyone who's celebrating. Today's the day. 3.5 more hours, and the Tortured Poets Society will be... No, the Tortured Poets Department, I'm so embarrassed, will be in our hands.
More importantly, Bill Murray releases a new single tonight, too, so...
Could you say, more importantly? How could you get out of here? Get out of here.
It's funny because both of our favorite artists are releasing something on the same day.
Is your favorite artist?
Bill Murray?
Yeah.
The band? Yeah.
I've never heard of that band before.
Well, yeah. It's technically one dude. I think he's...
Bill Murray? The actor?
But it's spelled Bilmuri. And you have heard him from me. I have talked to you about him countless times.
I don't remember.
Last big thing. And if you're here now and you've listened to us, thanks. And if you are on YouTube, this is important for you. We are doing our first giveaway, sponsored by myself and I, for making interesting trade decisions, giving me duplicates. I have extra physical copies of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 on the PS2. Funny enough, I posted them for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and 2 people reached out to me asking me if I was dying. So
I did first.
Huh?
I did first.
She did. She was the first. It was like the day of. It was the day of.
You posted. Well, it was so unsettling. I just opened up my Facebook to see Blake has listed Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 on the PS2 for sale, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. He's either dead or he's having a mental breakdown, or Allison is selling off his positions. One or the other.
I've learned that if I ever want to do a cry for help, that's how to do it. That's how to do it.
How you do it. Blake starts putting video games up for sale.
I took this off sale for obvious reasons. It is off sale. If you want to win these 2, all you have to do, it's the easiest thing in the world. All you have to do, you have to be following us on Twitch. No questions asked. You have to be subscribed to us on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. You have to comment on this video by May 15th, 2024. You have to comment on this video. Hit the bell icon if you want to see when our videos go live. That's the 4th thing. Those are the things you have to do. That's all you have to do. Follow on Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment. Oh, I forgot. Like the video. Like the video. Hit the bell notifications. You do those things. I will pull up a random comment puller, and we will pick a winner, and I will ship this to you. You will get a copy of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2.
I hope you have a PS2. If you don't have a PS2, you need not apply.
I mean, you probably should, because these are 2 of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah, you probably should get a PS2, or you could buy it on the PS5. Let's be real, Blake. Let's be real. Yours are very cool. They don't have skippable cutscenes.
You know what's crazy? Well, no, Kingdom Hearts 2 does. Kingdom Hearts 2 does.
Kingdom Hearts 1 does not have skippable cutscenes.
I opened these both up, and I looked at the manual, and they still have these little registration inserts on the inside, and I kind of want to rip them out and mail them and see what happens.
Please do.
Oh,
what are you supposed to get with them?
I don't know. What does this do? Fill out this card and return to be entered into our monthly drawing. You could win a cool game.
You could win a cool game, Blake.
Bro, what are they going to say? Say no?
I think they would be so surprised that they would be like, I think you should send it in. I think that'd be really funny. Even if just for the bit, you gotta send it in.
I'll do it. I want to put an air tag in the envelope to see if it got there.
Yeah, you gotta do something. Put your email. You just gotta throw your hat in the ring.
Oh man, that's great. That's incredible. Yeah, win these games. Okay, and then we're gonna talk about one more thing before we jump to Hideo Kojima. It's been about 5-10 minutes.
You now have 5 minutes. You now have 5 minutes for this.
7 minutes.
Fine, you have 7 minutes.
Great. Wonderful. Okay, so I picked up a game at GameStop. Turns out it was 2 weeks after release day, which I didn't even know this game was coming out. But it was $20 brand new. And I'm like, I can't say no.
You could, though. You could.
I could, but I'm like, all right, whatever. It looks interesting enough. The cover made it look interesting enough. It's called Eternites. All right? Cool. I did not know what I was getting myself into. This game is very short.
Wait, show me that cover again. Is that it? Like, you got another anime game there?
Oh, I absolutely did.
For a man who is, I don't watch anime, I'm not a weeb, you have played more animated video games than any human I've ever met in my life.
This is true. As a person who has never seen a single episode of Hunter x Hunter or Fruit Baskets, yes, this is very true.
You gotta watch Fruits Basket. You gotta, if you're gonna live this life, you actually have to start watching the classics. Otherwise, you can't be playing JRPGs.
Neon Genesis Evangelion who? I only play
You gotta watch
Final
Oran High
Fantasy.
School Host Club. You gotta watch Oran High School Host Club. You gotta watch Fruits Baskets. You gotta do it, man. You just have to.
Anywho, so I picked this game up. I heard, after I got it, I looked it up a little bit. I didn't really go into the details, but the guy who created it, he actually pulled a lot of inspiration from Persona. I'm like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to have some kind of enjoyment with it. Little did I know. It's a very short game. It is an action RPG, life sim / dating sim, all in one.
It's a dating sim?
Just like Persona, kind of, right?
Who did you date?
Oh, that's the fun part. Hold on. I'll get there. I will get there.
Okay.
The premise is there's this drug, this serum called the Eternite serum, which makes you not immortal, but it makes you you make sure you don't age. It makes it to where you stay youthful until you die.
Okay.
Apparently there was some goofy stuff happening with it, and it leaked, and it caused all these walls to erupt and all these people to change into terrible monsters because of a virus that it spread. It is a zombie apocalypse game at the same time. It is a lot of things at once.
Interesting. I don't know how...
Hold on, we lost her. Oh, she's back.
You lost me? Oh no! What a bad face for me to be frozen on. I'm horrified. Nobody look at me. Nobody look at me again.
Anywho, so you start off with your best friend, and then you meet this pop star, and you are essentially running away to try to, get away from the zombies. And then all of a sudden, this random lady who's not a zombie cuts off your arm because she's looking for the guy who's going to stop all this, because she was promised she'd get her brother back.
What does that have to do with your arm?
Because apparently that shows that you are working with the person who could stop everything. It's very complicated for no reason.
Okay.
Well, you go into a dream as soon as your arm gets chopped off, and then the lady who's supposed to help you, stop everything, gives you a new arm that can turn into different things, like a sword, or at one point, unfortunately, a tentacle. So that's the basic premise. You start with those two. You meet a couple other people on the way. You meet a runner, you meet a scientist, and you meet this one dream dude who lost his brother, who is also eternal. You can date the scientist girl. You dated
the scientist, I mean.
Absolutely. You date the track runner girl. You can date the pop star girl. And you can date the eternal guy. The eternal man.
What's this game called?
Eternites. Anywho. So you have 3 segments. It's calendar system based again, right? And there are social stats along with it. It is very Persona, but at the same time, it is significantly hornier than Persona. And I hate saying that.
I can already tell.
It is way too much. The science girl at one point pulled out a motorcycle she conjured and called it a ball cycle, and I'm like, I'm uncomfortable.
I looked at this girl and I knew this was the girl you were gonna date.
Because science?
No, because she has long black hair.
Okay.
She looks like she looks like an emo girly for you.
So it was very, very weird. I think the action sections were actually a lot of fun. The life sim and dating sim stuff was very, very off color. If you want a trip for not a lot of money, I think it's $15 on Steam. It's short. It's only about 10 hours to beat. It took me 12 hours to platinum. It was a very easy platinum. Pick it up. I give it a 6 out of 10. I enjoyed it enough to give it a 6. So meaning I wasn't middle of the road. I had some fun with it. It's just strange. I thought I'd bring it up.
It's an odd time.
And it's making me want Persona. Oh, that's a piece of news we forgot.
Persona 6 is green?
Persona 6 is green, everybody. We have an official color theme.
It's green.
It's green.
It's the ugliest shade of green I've ever seen in my life.
It's too early, Em. It's too early to tell.
No, I've seen the green. We all seen the green.
It's fine. All right, now
it's ugly.
Now before we jump into our main topic, don't forget giveaway. All right, Em, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've done it. We've made it. Today's the day. The time's here. I'm so ready to talk about PD. Hideo PD? Did I say PD?
Public defense?
I quit.
Police department?
I'm a fraud.
Oh God, she's a Leon Kennedy stan. Oh, he's a piggy.
You take that back. You take that back. That was the meanest thing you've ever said to me.
He's a little bootlicker, isn't he?
He is a bootlicker. To call me in my own Leon S. Kennedy stand when you know Carlos is right there. Why would you even put that out there?
Has he come back on him?
You know I love one man. He doesn't need to come back. He did everything I needed him to do in one video game. He was the perfect man.
And now he's gone.
Alright, shut up. I want to talk about PT.
Not PD.
Not PD. We'll talk about PD another day. I don't have time for it. I'm probably thinking of the Tortured Poets Department, which is TTPD. Because you guys, Taylor Swift's new album comes out tonight at midnight. PT, if you have no knowledge of what I'm talking about, if you're like, what's happening? It's insane. It's insane in so many ways. Because not only was it an incredible game, quote unquote game, there was a lot of controversy and a lot of things that happened surrounding the game. And then there's a lot of lore and theories involved in the game that we'll probably never know about. And then it never saw the light of day. So there's a lot to unpack here, a lot to cover, and we're going to kind of try to break it down and discuss it. So back in, it was either late 2013, early 2014, I believe.
It was early 2014.
Early 2014, PT was released on the PlayStation Store. It was the playable teaser for the upcoming Silent Hills game by Hideo Kojima and
Konami.
Guillermo del Toro. Sorry, that's what I was trying to think of.
Oh, sorry.
And it was a very short experience. It was about, depending on how quickly you played it, it could be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half. And it was just meant to be this kind of insight into what the gameplay mechanics were going to be like for the main game. It tells you from the beginning the story is not related to the mainline game at all. And it was phenomenal. From beginning to end, from the graphics to the gameplay, to the way the scares are designed, to the environments. It was so incredible, it revolutionized the horror game genre completely. And pretty much every modern day horror game you see is probably going to take some inspiration in some way, shape, or form from PT. And so not only did they drop this incredible revolutionary game and tell you, hey, it's just a trailer, it actually doesn't matter and it has no relevance to the mainline game whatsoever, but then they canceled the project, removed the game from the PlayStation Store, so unless you already had it downloaded on your PlayStation, you could not get it, and then erased it from existence and moved on and never spoke about it again. So essentially they dropped the mic and then walked off the stage and refused to answer any questions about this game. And that has plagued people, including myself, for a decade now. We're going on 10 years since PT was originally launched.
It has been 10 years.
It's been 10 years, guys, and people are still talking about PT. People are still hoping for PT. PT is still everywhere. Games like, Resident Evil 7, the reboot of the Resident Evil series, is directly inspired from the gameplay style to the graphics design to the level. They went from being third-person, over-the-shoulder tank control games to first-person inside someone's home, long, winding hallways, enemies right around the corner from you to jump scare you. Games like Visage, directly inspired by PT. Layers of Fear, directly inspired by PT. There were remakes, there were ripoffs, and a lot of games have come close, a lot of games have done incredible jobs, but I don't think anybody has ever been able to fully capture that lightning in a bottle that PT captured.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would you say that RE7 was inspired by PT?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. We're on the same page.
It was and I just said the design of the game from the way it looked. So the thing about PT was a lot of horror games took place in these big, grandiose, or scary situations, right? Like Silent Hills has traditionally been, you're in this giant town and there's these giant, huge, scary enemies, right? You got Pyramid Head waving his scythe around. PT placed you inside of one hallway in one home The villain, the main horror, it's a wife. It's a mom. There's a fetus in the sink. There's a young child crying. There's photos all over the home of this family, real life photos. There's clutter around the home. It feels very point of and premise of PT is to make it feel like more realistic, more you are in somebody's life. It feels, they said this in the video we talked about too, it's meant to tie it back more to real life and make you think this could happen to you. This is just somebody's home. It's not a mansion in the middle of the woods with a secret laboratory underneath filled with all of these tyrants waiting to kill you. It's just a home. It's just somebody's house. Even the inciting horror of the game, talking about the fathers killing their families, that is a very common occurrence. That is, the middle side is one of the biggest forms of mass murder that there is. And so they don't start with, the typical Resident Evil thing where, looking at Resident Evil, it's like, oh, this entire town is being taken over by zombies, we're all gonna die. It's a man killed his family, and now here we are, because this is the horror that's happening. And so Resident Evil 7, what is it? It is a game, first person, to make you feel like you are the player, and to make it scarier. You are Ethan. You are in someone's home. You're seeing their clutter. You're seeing their life. You're seeing their family photographs. You're learning about this family. You come around a corner, and just like, Lisa might jump out at you, Jack jumps out at you. It's tight hallways. It is very much, even like the grain, like almost filter over the game is very reminiscent of PT. So pretty much every modern day horror game is going to be related to PT in some way. There's been a lot of games that have even done the loop thing, that have just, I've even seen like indie horror games who have just remade the PT house and try to like make a new game inside of it, but they literally just use the PT house. So essentially what I'm trying to say is this game did a lot. And it's interesting to talk about that because, yes, it did bring it into this is just someone's home, it can happen to you, but it does more to tie it to reality, too. And that's what makes it so successful, and it scares. There's a line where the dad, when they talk about how the dad murdered his family, the daughter hid in the bathroom, and he lured her out of the bathroom by telling her it was just a game, that he wasn't actually going to hurt her, that the game couldn't harm her, that she needed to come out of the bathroom now because he's just playing with her. And when she left the bathroom, when she left the safety, he killed her, right? At the end of PT, there is a message that says, this is just a game. It's a work of fiction. It can't hurt you. So essentially the game is saying the same thing to the player. And it does that throughout the game to instill this fear of this could be you. This is your life, right? Lisa, we see real photos of her before she turned into the monster that she was, right? And ultimately, I want to talk about Lisa, because Lisa is what makes this game so scary. And this is where I think other games fall short of being as scary as PT is. Because PT, horror games, 99% of the time rely on scripted scares, right? The developers plan these very well-timed, well-placed, well, most of the time well-timed and well-placed jump scares. Right? You're supposed to walk here and somebody's going to jump out at you or whatnot.
Or you have Emily holding your hand while you're playing RE7 and you beat Jack and she doesn't warn you that as soon as you turn around, Jack's going to grab you by the neck and then, scare the shit out of you in that very moment.
Yes.
That script.
Exactly. So, I mean, like, and to a point, that's very... It's formulaic, right? And the first time you play the game, you don't know the formula. So it's like, okay, I'm nervous because I don't know what's going to happen. But after the first time, you're like, oh, this is going to happen and then this is going to happen. At the end of the day, you can see the AI in the characters and how they're written to look. I know Outlast was a huge horror game around the same time PT came out, and people were playing Outlast all the time. And for me, again, the element that was missing from Outlast was, oh, you have to get away from these enemies. But I could see the paths the enemies were walking and like the loops they were just trained to like walk here and then go this way and then go that way and then go this way. There was no spontaneity in it. There was no randomization element to it.
I'm getting major PTSD from Outlast. So say what you want. That game destroyed me and my mental psyche for a few nights. I didn't sleep for a few days.
Oh, wait, you really didn't?
No. I don't do horror. Context. I did play PT. I did play Outlast, and I played RE7. I don't do horror games, and I did not sleep after playing Outlast. I didn't sleep well. I had to switch playing RE7 to the daytime to make sure I was okay. I played PT at night. Luckily, that only took an hour, and I did not. The effects of sleep did not last long. But oh my goodness, did that destroy me? I was not okay.
But honestly, I'm with you that like effects that PT has on my life to this day, 10 years post playing this game. Guys, I'm not even kidding you when I say these things. It turns to 11:59 p.m. at night, and I stop what I'm doing until it hits midnight, because that is the 1 minute that PT takes place. It's 11:59, and then when the clock turns midnight, that's when Lisa starts haunting. And so I always just get like a little nervous at 11:59. Like, that's a real thing that happens to me. If the bathroom light is off and it's dark in the hallway and I start to close the bathroom door and I'm looking at the bathroom door closing, I think of that jump scare where you close the bathroom door and Lisa peeks her head in the little, like, gap and slams the door in you. Things like that. But what's back to the randomization thing, what set PT so far apart was it did have those scripted elements, right? Like, the 6th loop, she's standing in the hallway. Then the 7th loop, she slams the bathroom door. Then the 10th loop, whatever, right? But Lisa was also completely randomized. You could play the game 1,000 times, and you could get her 3 times in one playthrough. You could get her 0 times in another playthrough. You could get her 10 times. And she could appear anywhere. She could appear outside the window, physically outside the home. She could appear on the balcony and jump down and kill you. She could appear at the end of the hallway and do it. You could turn around when you're listening to the radio and she'll kill you. You could get to a certain loop number and she'll just get bored and decide to kill you. There was even a theory, and I don't know if this was ever proven, that if you left the game on the pause screen for too long, she would go into the pause screen and kill you. And that even made people afraid to pause the game, because like, no, you can't pause the game, because if you pause the game for too long, Lisa will kill you. It will trigger a kill from Lisa. And so it created this insane sense of fear where you knew that even if you called Hideo Kojima himself and was like, hey man, I'm having the scariest time playing this game, can you tell me if Lisa's gonna kill me here? He would not be able to tell you, because she's so randomized to that point. And that is what I think really stepped this game up to the next level, was never knowing truly, no matter how many times you played it, when you were gonna get got. Or if she possesses you at any point, like, right, she can just see you and bum rush you. If she possesses you, she can wait 5 loops and then just decide she wants you dead and kill you at any point in time when she's possessed you. Or she could never do it. It constantly keeps you on your toes and on the edge of your seat and anxious.
Crazy enough, after going through the last loop 50 times, she will kill you on the 51st loop every time.
Okay, yes. So actually, that happened to us once, because we were having someone play the game and Lisa never appeared. And we were like, oh, you didn't get to see Lisa. Well, let's force a kill. The problem is, though, the guy we read like on this loop after you beat the game, it's not true. It includes the number of loops that you do in the main game, right? So however many you have to go through to complete the main story, quote unquote, that counts toward the 51 loops or the 52 loops, whatever you said. So we were doing that, but we were counting from when the end of the game was. So we got to like loop 30 something and we were like, 20 more loops to go. We were just chilling. And then Lisa came out, we got, and that was the scariest thing of my life. So, I mean, like, PT in itself was just, and it seems, again, one of those games, and like, this is what get me so deeply, is when people play the game, they get nervous and they just go through the loops. I'm like, oh, okay, I did it, I'm done. And I think by doing that, you miss so much of the artistry that is in this game and how much you can dissect. And Blake and I actually showed Blake, for context before this, a video that kind of dissects all of those things that you can see in the game and all those things that you can theorize and the kind of story and the world that you can build. And that's why I love horror games so much, is because they never just hand you the story straight, right? You're never going to sit down and have this 10-minute exposition text like you sometimes get in Persona games where they tell you over and over and over what's happening, why it's happening.
Don't remind me every 5 seconds.
You really have to put the effort in and like pay attention to the details and make those connections yourself to figure out what's going on. You know, there's the photo of Lisa where you say, gouge it out, and then you stab out her right eye. Well, if you look at the Lisa, the monster, her right eye is gone. If you listen to the radio talking, you can piece together who, it seems very random at first. Like, there's a woman wearing one shoe with this crazy black hair killing you. There's a fetus in the sink. There's something in a fridge swinging. But if you listen and pay attention, you can piece together that this is Lisa. The thing in the fridge is the daughter that he lured out of the bathroom. The fetus is the person she was pregnant with. And the main antagonist, Jay, who you meet in the special ending, or you hear him as the evil radio voice, is the son who was killed. So this makes up an entire family. And there's secret messages you can find. There's a radio that if you listen to, you can get some other messages from him. And you can just piece together the life of this family and what went wrong here and what was going on. And it's just incredible. I mean, the sound effects, even the radio. I mean, we talk about the radio a lot. I think Lisa, as scary as she is like almost second to this radio. He still gives me chills. Allison and I, Blake's wife, she and I both really like a horror game called Poppy Playtime. And the most recent chapter was just released a month or so ago. And in that chapter, there is a very PT-like radio who makes very similar noises to that radio. And Allison and I are both like, oh, no. I even was like, oh, no. It was very traumatic. It really brought me back to the PT radio. I was like, oh, this is I can handle anything, but this radio talking like the one in PT is really upsetting
PTSD,
me right now.
baby.
PTSD, post-traumatic PT disorder. So yeah, there's so much about PT to unpack, and obviously we don't have time for me to talk about it for 3 hours, but I just trying to convey how revolutionary this game was. It pretty much did everything that it could have done right. And there's even, there's just, again, stuff that you don't think about. And I remember when I showed this video to Blake, he and Allison also had that moment of, where you do this loop over and over and over. You think, oh, okay, we're in the same hallway over and over. But at the end of the hallway, there's a set of stairs that goes down. So if you think about it, at the end of each loop, you're actually going further and further down, which is representative of going further either into hell, going further down into your mental psyche, whichever you want to, whatever suits you best.
I get it. Bug Snacks was inspired by PT.
It's Bug Snacks on the way down.
I'm sorry. As soon as you said that.
If you go to the bottom of Bug Snacks aisle, actually, Lisa's just sitting there, and she's like, where have you been, dude? The PT house is actually the base of the island.
Crazy enough, actually, the last section of Bug Snacks, as someone who just finished it again recently, yeah, that little cave you go through for 2 seconds, it's PT-esque.
Now I'm imagining Norman Reedus' character finally getting out of the PT house and being like, oh, I made it, and he's just like on the Isle of Bug Snacks.
Strawberry!
He's like, oh no, this is worse. Lisa, let me back in, Lisa, please.
Kill me now! Bunger?
Get me out of here, Lisa, please.
Continuing on. Sorry. Going downstairs. You're going down mental psyche.
Going mental psyche, whatever. The last thing I want to talk about with the game and the gameplay mechanic is the secret ending I mentioned earlier, because the set game is there's a set amount of hallway loops that you're meant to do, and then when you loops, the game ends. However, there's a final hallway loop you can do, and if you were anything like me and you played this with your friends in 2014, you had read 30 different guides that told you what to do, and each guide was different, and you had to figure out how to make the baby laugh and how to take 10. You're supposed to wait for the bell to toll midnight, then you're supposed to take 10 steps, then you're supposed to wait for the laugh, then you're supposed to go to the phone. There's an intricate set of steps you're supposed to do. But if you do that successfully and you do it right and you call into your microphone the name of the son who was killed and the name of the main antagonist for the game, supposedly, we'll never really know, thanks Kojima, the phone will ring. And you can answer the phone and it will tell you you've been chosen, the door unlocks, and you can actually leave the house. And that's when you'll get the trailer for the main game and also the voiceover of the main antagonist telling you about how his dad murdered them all and how he's going to come back. So kind of for the mainline game, which is interesting because Kojima told you that this game had nothing to do with the mainline game, and yet he set this up. But things like that, it was kind of like, oh, how am I supposed to know what to do with this? Like I said, there's things you can find. There's like little picture pieces of Lisa hidden around the house you can find. And they give you phrases that say things like, I thought I heard a phone. So to tell you that somebody had got to the point where they heard the phone ring, and that is something you need to do to leave the house. Like that. So just, the game is a work of art in terms of how it lays out its story, its puzzle solutions, and its scares for the player. And then Kojima said, have this. So, Konami, they split.
Yeah, do we want to get into the history of Kojima and Konami before we get into how it relates?
Do you want to talk about that real quick?
I can. It won't take me long. Yeah.
No, go for it.
Because this I knew before even like delving into the history of PT. So as you guys all know, Kojima worked for Konami for a very long time. He introduced games such as the Metal Gear Solid games, still revered as some of the greatest games of all time. Of course, Silent Hill, still some of the greatest games of all time. He was very high up within Konami. He was even at one point got up to a director role, right? Around this time, as he's working on Silent Hills, there was another guy who worked over at Konami who was making a mobile game, right? It's a little free mobile game, of course, with a gacha mechanic. And it was generating millions and millions and millions of dollars of revenue because
people have no taste. Yeah. They don't appreciate art.
Wait, didn't we talk about you spending money on a mobile game at one point?
No? Wait, yes, we did. But you know what? I have better taste than that.
Yeah, so this was happening.
I was dating cute boys.
So all of a sudden, he's no longer a director. He gets demoted. He's now just a creative lead again. And he released PT. You know, he's still working on Silent Hills, but it doesn't look good. He already has seen the writing on the walls. He knows that Konami is about to write him out. And if we look at Konami recently, tell me something Konami's released. They really haven't. They've released slot machines, gambling stuff, mobile games. They're not
remakes of the Metal Gear Solid series.
Oh, that's right. They're starting to come back. I forgot they're
without
doing
Kojima attached to them.
Yeah. They won't put Kojima's name in there. They refuse. So yeah, essentially, Kojima saw the writing on the wall, and he decided to do one last big middle finger to Konami before he was gone. Before we get into that, he obviously did end up leaving Konami. And he created what is now known as Kojima Productions, which is probably the best thing he probably could have done for himself. Because let's be real, artists don't need the stakeholder stranglehold on them when they're trying to create something they love. And now
let him be free. Although some people I think do need to rein Kojima in. Whoever allowed him to do the poop bombs in Death Stranding, you could have talked him out of that one. He could have been told no.
The only exception, I think, to the rule they need to be set free. Tetsuya Nomura does not need to be let go to be set free. Keep him under lock and key. I don't want him on his own because I am afraid of the horror RPG that he will release that will be so convoluted 5 minutes in. Anywho, continuing on. The big final middle finger to Konami. I will pass it back off to Emily because even though I watched the video, she's still way more, she knows way more than I do still.
Well, I will preface this by saying that none of this is confirmed. This is mostly just speculation and putting things together. It's also, we can't take credit for the theory. I'll actually share the videos that we watched. If you guys are interested in learning more about this guy does a phenomenal job of laying out everything in way more detail, and he has some sources. It's very interesting. So I don't know if many of you remember this.
Real quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
If you are interested in the videos, I will link them on YouTube. I'll link them in the description below. And that way you can click them and you can watch them and then be like, hey, they ripped you off, even though we credited him. Go on.
So he actually talks about, I don't know if any of you saw this, but I actually remembered seeing this way back in the day and didn't connect it with PT. But there's actually an original trailer for the Silent Hills game for PT that looked incredibly different. You'll have to go back and look for it if you haven't seen it yourself, but it takes place in a completely different house. It's a lot more like we talked about with Resident Evil, the big mansion. There's a lot of really intense horror stuff happening, but in a very like supernatural horror way, right? There's toys moving themselves. There's creatures coming down the hallways. There's the stereotypical Silent Hills, everything is turning into something darker. It is not at all like the quiet house where Lisa exists, where the only sound is the creaking of the light as it swings and the rain falling outside the window. It's an incredibly different experience. And everyone was very surprised when that didn't come to light, including Guillermo del Toro, who's working with Kojima on this game, and even said, oh, we had this concept and then it turned out to be something completely different. And if you line up the timeline and you put some things together and you do a little digging into the lore of PT, it's entirely possible that PT is a metaphor for Konami's situation, or Kojima's situation with Konami. Konami being the evil father who came in and murdered his children, who was changing the game, who was having them be watched, who was drawing lines in the sand, who was Dad, the radio at the end of the game says Dad was such a drag. Every day he did the same thing. He wore the same clothes. That is supposedly the metaphor for Konami. Konami being the dad. The fetus in the sink that you find is supposed to be Kojima's. I believe it was called the Firefox. Firefox, right?
Hold on, you froze.
Is that what it was called, right, Blake?
You froze.
Blake?
M.
Blake?
I can hear you. She can't hear me.
Am I gone?
Oh, you're back. You're back. I got you back. Can you hear me now?
Blake? Hello?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Chat, just...
Hello? I can't hear Blake. Blake, what did you do?
What?
I didn't touch anything. This had to be you. What did you do?
Hold on, chat. I got this. Okay. All right. Can you hear me? Emily. Can you hear me? Why can't... Okay, I can hear you. Okay, we're good. Hanging up and picking back up worked. All right.
Okay, that was so odd.
It would not be a podcast without a major technical difficulty somewhere down the line.
It was called the, was it called the Firefox?
The last thing I heard was the baby in the sink. Was that called the Firefox? Blake?
Okay, yeah, so at the time, Kojima was creating his own, basically, game development software. It was called
It wasn't
Fox Engine?
Yeah, it was the Fox Engine. Because Firefox is the browser, yeah.
Yes. It was called the Fox Engine. It was basically his baby that he had been working on, and Konami killed it. So the fetus is the representation for the Fox Engine. The dad is the representation for Konami. And Kojima is the son who, at the end, says he's going to come back and he's going to bring all of his friends with him, which could be a metaphor for Kojima creating Kojima Productions, taking some people from Konami, starting a new game. And then you get into Death Stranding, which was his first game from his new production studios, in which everyone else also says that could be a huge metaphor for his debate, his troubles with Konami, being that he is the Norman Reedus character. He gets his baby taken away from him, and he has to go and get his baby back. The baby again being his games, and baby back.
I want my baby back. Sorry. Continue.
So, and I mean, obviously, there's a lot more evidence for this than what I'm providing. What I'm telling you is the gist of it. But again, watch this video. He goes into a lot of depth. There's sources from Konami who talks about it. Some of the things that they did to Kojima, some of the lines that more specifically cite the culture that was going on at Konami at the time. They had a lot of surveillance going on, some video cameras. They had security within the office watching what people were doing. In fact, they talk about how Kojima was pretty much locked in a room by himself for the final 2 years that he worked. And he was told not to showcase PT at things. And so it's very much speculated that PT in its release was Kojima kind of defying Konami. And like Blake said so eloquently, giving them the finger one last time and saying, I did this anyway. It's actually all about you and how terrible you were, but nobody actually knows that kind of thing. He also was made to sign NDAs and things of that nature. So this was supposedly kind of his way of getting around the NDA and not being able to talk about what Konami was doing, was putting it all in this beautiful, beautiful game that never stood a chance. And yeah, it was killed pretty much instantly. Konami scrubbed it. Konami does not like to talk about it, or they like to pretend it doesn't exist. And it's devastating.
Wasn't it removed from their games list? Not like on the stores. I remember from the video you showed me, like, any mention of it was removed from Konami's website.
They scrubbed, so Konami scrubbed their website of anything, I think, pre-2014, like any press releases, anything talking about Kojima. It was not a pleasant split. It was very much felt like Kojima was being forced out, and in the 2 years leading up to him being forced out, he was basically chained to his desk and watched all the time and told what he was going to be doing.
Which, at the end of the day, like, people will say, oh, it was just mommy and daddy are fighting it. No, it was very one-sided. It was very, Konami was like, you are costing us money while this other guy making a mobile game is making us money. We don't want you here. Which, we could do a whole episode about the greediness of gaming companies on a whole nother day. But it boils down to that. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, and if they're skeptical about all this, because I think that's totally understandable. Sorry, my sister messaged me. I think that's completely understandable. You can actually look, and this one is much more blatant, at the Metal Gear Solid. I think it was the Phantom Pain. I don't know. Phantom Pain. There is actually a quest in the Phantom Pain where you have to go and you have to erase all of the logos of the previous Metal Gear Solids, and you have to erase Kojima's name off of all of them. And this was in reference to Konami taking the series from him. If you looked at the Metal Gear Solid cover, it previously said a Kojima game, and they actually removed his name from the cover. It no longer, it said, went from a Kojima game to a Konami game on the cover. And once you complete that quest and that mission, whoever the person is in the game, I don't know the name of the character, I haven't played the game.
Solid Snake?
No, not Solid Snake. The person on the radio talking to Solid Snake, you turd. Oh, I know who Snake is.
I'm about to say, I'm like, you don't know who Snake? Okay, continue.
I've played a Metal Gear game. It's somebody talking to you on the radio.
You've done more than me. I've never played a Metal Gear game, shockingly.
He comes on and he says, you can erase the proof and the evidence, but the memories will, like, forever last, etc., etc. So it is a very, like, meaningful moment from Kojima to the fans of the game, saying, the game and the series are being taken from me. My name's going to be taken off of it. This will not belong to me anymore. But what we've created is going to last. It's not going to go away, and I'm always going to be tied to it, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so that is something he's very well known to do, is put these things in his game, put real-life references, put real-life scenarios, real-life situations, and convey meaning to his players and his audience through game. So I don't think it's crazy to say PT is a metaphor for his situation with Konami. But the great thing is, whether it is or it isn't, you can enjoy it either way. It's still a masterpiece. It's still a work of art. It's, like I said, it's the game I credit with getting me into horror games, because I thought I hated horror games. I had tried playing Resident Evil 7 before, and I couldn't do it. And that's so weird to me to say now, but I could not do it. But I was obsessed with PT. I wanted to play it all the time, even though it scared the crap out of me. My friends and I were talking about it. And I think it really is that level of lore that you have to work really hard to get into. And then I ended up finding someone who plays horror games for me, so I don't have to play them. And became obsessed with watching him play, and then started playing them on my own. And now here I am, a horror game fanatic who still doesn't like to watch horror movies.
And I need to backpedal this. What she said a second ago, where she does not like to play. She didn't like to play Resident Evil 7. This woman comes to my house, and we spend at least 15 hours of her being here playing RE7, trying to get that platinum. Which, bless you, by the way. You are a blessing.
But like that is a huge testament to how much I've changed, right? Like the first time I played that, Kat, my friend, sat me in her basement and handed me the controller and said, I love this game, I really want you to play it. And I tried so hard, like even in the beginning of the house with Jack, I was so scared, I was so nervous. I was like, no, you have to take the controller, you have to do it. And she pretty much beat that game for me, and then was like, you did it, you beat it. And I was like, no, you beat this game. It was very much a you and me scenario, except the shoe was on the other foot for me. And it wasn't until I found this person who plays horror games and watched them play Resident Evil 7 a few times where I was like, I know what's going to happen, that I could go in and play it myself and then start playing the other games and just get more comfortable with the idea of horror in general. But PT definitely started all of that. And damn, what a game it was. I was going to say the D word and then I switched to dang and it came out really weird. I'm sorry for that, friends. It sounded weird coming out of my mouth and I didn't like it. It sounded really weird. I didn't care for it the way that sounded. It left a really bad taste in my mouth. I didn't care for it.
I will say I am grateful that Emily didn't do the same thing to me when she forced me to play RE7. Granted, I still hate horror games. I still won't do it. So sorry. Even after playing PT, RE7, and Outlast, I won't do it. Yeah, and Until Dawn. I also played Until Dawn. It's not for me.
Until Dawn's not really scary though.
Which I actually will be playing Until Dawn again because I need to get the plat.
Until Dawn's also really fun to play with friends, especially now that they have the system where like you can assign a character to each person and you just like only care about getting your character out alive. Those are like fun party games.
When did that happen?
It's not Until Dawn. You can't do it in Until Dawn. But the sequel games that came out, like Man of Medan, House of Ashes, Little Hope,
then Dark Anthology.
The Quarry, that one that came out that was more of a sequel to Until Dawn. You can assign characters to specific people, and then when it's like that character's turn to play, they'll be like, hey, it's your turn. And then you have to care about getting your character out. So like you have more of a vested interest in screwing over other people sometimes, whereas like in Until Dawn, you're like, how can I get everybody out? So it can be an interesting way to play the game. But just to wrap up the PT, I didn't touch on this as much. But guys, if you've never played, even just watch somebody play it. The sound, the audio in that game, it's a beautifully designed game, but the audio is so good. The sound of the light creaking, the rain, the radio voices are incredible. I can even right now hear the sound of Lisa laughing when you figure out a puzzle. It's terrifying. It's horrifying. Because I was thinking a second ago, I was like, man, I really want to like watch somebody play PT right now after we've been talking about it. And then I thought about having to listen to Lisa's laugh at like 9:30 p.m. And I was like, let's not. That's not for a person who's not affected by horror anymore. PT is the one game that will always get to me.
FYI, and for legal purposes, this is a lie. Wink, wink. This is a lie. Wink, wink. You can definitely not wink find a port wink on PC for PT wink if you want to play on PC. Wink.
So some 1-for-1 remakes that people have done that are pretty faithful.
No, it's not even remakes. Someone has actually ported. I mean, not really.
No,
has ported.
No, I know what you mean. That like the port exists, but I'm also saying like if you couldn't find the port for whatever reason, there are people who have just like rebuilt the game from the ground up, and it is exactly like the real PT. So there are several options if you wanted to play this yourself. If you're too scared to play it yourself, watch somebody play it. I promise you, even if like you're not just enjoying how incredible that game is, and also do yourself a favor, find somebody who gets the secret ending and who finds all the puzzle pieces, because PT is a scary game when you play through it, but like it's not nearly as incredible of an experience if you're just having someone who's running through the hallway loops.
And once again, I just have to reiterate this. We do not condone piracy of any kind. Never will, never have in Minecraft.
Don't do it.
Ew, icky. Corporations need your money. Yeah, okay, I'm done.
my dream one day would be for, I don't think it will ever happen, but my dream would for one day be for Kojima to return to it. But honestly, as it is, it's a masterpiece. It is, honestly, what it did to the horror genre alone is just so insane. Like, every huge mainline horror game that has come out since has taken a note from PT, and that's an insanely powerful thing for a 45-minute experience to be capable of.
No one can do it like Kojima can do it. I will argue that he is probably the most artistic man in all of gaming, period.
He's crazy. He is like the Taylor Swift of gaming with the amount of clues and weird lore things he's got going on.
There is, I would argue that there's only one other person who's close. No, it's not Nomura. Nomura thinks he's Kojima.
You're going to say Nomura?
No, Nomura thinks he's Kojima. Even I know Nomura thinks he's Kojima and doesn't realize he's not Kojima.
Say Todd Howard right now. Say Todd Howard right now.
Ew. Oh, it just works. Okay, I'm sorry. What is his name? You made me forget his name. The creator of Nier and Nier Automata. Oh my goodness.
Oh, your anime games.
And Drakengard. What is his name?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
We talked about him. Takashi Tara.
I don't know who he is.
I don't. That's not how you pronounce his name. I'm saying his name wrong. Anywho, yeah, that man is very, very good at putting about. Huh?
How do you say it? What's his name?
Takashi Tara. Hold on.
Trying to find
him. I'm getting it, I promise.
Takashi. No, not Takashi. Takahisa.
Oh. Okay, no, found it. It's this is what I'm looking at. Akihiko Yoshida.
Oh, I'm looking at somebody else completely.
Yoshida.
Who's Takahisa?
Takahisa Taro is the writer, so he's also a big like name for it. But it's him and Yoshida combined. They put a lot of good imagery to where I want you to play the Nier games because mainly it's one of those types of games. As you're playing it, you don't necessarily know the themes unless you're looking for it. If you know what you're looking for, and then you start noticing it everywhere as you play it again.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love having to dig up story from games, having to work for it, having to figure out the puzzles, having to piece it together. It was like that with
That's it.
Visage 2.
I was still wrong. Per got me. I'm sorry, reading chat, and I should. Yoko Taro. Why is that
like? Here's the thing. If you don't know the name of the person you're talking about, where you pick 3 different names to them, how inspirational can it be?
Because because this person has only done 2 series. Then they're connected. The 2 series that I know for sure, he may have done more. The 2 series I know for sure that he's done is he's done the Drakengard series and he's done Nier and Nier Automata. Oh shit! I also are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, you're here. I just learned that Nier specifically was he took direct inspiration from 9/11 on the Nier games.
What?
Which, now that I read that,
was he there?
I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that makes sense.
Was he there? What a weird thing to take inspiration from. This Japanese man's like, what an inspiration 9/11 was.
Is it really that odd? Because remember, without 9/11, we don't have My Chemical Romance, which means we don't have Twilight, which means we don't have 50 Shades of Grey.
Those were Americans who took inspiration from other people who were directly involved in 9/11. I failed to see how this Japanese game developer was directly involved in 9/11.
They weren't involved in 9/11. They just happened to be there. Gerard Way was on. When you say involved, it makes it sound like he was part of 9/11.
They weren't involved. They just happened to be there.
He was on a subway, like, and he saw it from the subway. At least that's how I.
That is involved. He was in.
When I hear involved, I
the towers fall. How more involved can you be without being the one who flew the plane?
Yeah, when I hear involved like that, I think caused or like was a part of the reason it happened. Okay, besides the point. It's now time for us to talk to chat. Remember,
I can't believe you just invalidated Gerard's 9/11 experience. Oh yeah, Gerard Way wrote that. Well, formed My Chemical Romance. Yeah, because he watched something terrible. Well, he wasn't really involved. He was just there.
Yeah, involved.
What trauma did he
took a part in?
What did he even live
Let's save this
through?
for after party. If you like this video on YouTube, please like it, subscribe, leave a comment down below, follow us on Twitch. You could win these 2 Kingdom Hearts games for the PlayStation 2 because I have duplicates. And the winner will be picked on the 15th of May. I will contact you via... I'll make some kind of community post on my Discord or on YouTube. And if you win, just reach out to me on Discord. I will get your information and get it out to you. So make sure you do the things, please. It does help, and it will help us get more in the limelight. Emily and I also need to talk about doing our own outreach because just doing podcasts, we need to do more. Besides the point, on that note, like, comment, subscribe. We're going to After Party. In 2 weeks, we will be back. We'll be talking about Stellar Blade, a.k.a. Stellar Booty.
We are?
We talked about this.
Oh. Do I need to be there?
What the hell? Fine. We're going to talk about something completely different. I'll keep my Stellar Booty thoughts to myself.
Oh, we want to hear about the Stellar Booty.
Do be a stellar boot. No, I'm just kidding. I'm done. I'm actually excited about the themes. Anywho, continuing on.
The themes. The themes, you say, as though you play the game for its themes.
I'm just, you know what? Screw After Party. We're gone. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye, everyone. Oh, yeah, wait. Before I go, find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheBeardedBlake Show. You could find Emily. But, yeah, there she is hiding in shame. She hasn't streamed in like 3-4 months. I just got drafted for another month of subscription to Emily, as I do every month. So...
One day. I know. It has been 3 or 4 months. I played Mario Odyssey like 2 months ago.
Maybe it was 2 months ago. It was 2 months ago.
I did play Mario Odyssey semi-recently.
Anywho, yeah, follow Emily on Twitch as well. Emily Jean 33. There will be a podcast next month where Emily is not here, and I will be, because you'll be out of town.
I'll be in Japan.
Yeah. Or wait,
I thought you were just kicking me out.
Was that Japan or Korea?
I'm doing both, bud.
When is when?
They're back to back, buddy. Back to back.
We need to talk about that timeline. I will be having somebody else on, most likely. I don't know yet. I have a plan and I have a person in mind. I just have to reach out and figure it out. It might be on more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth nonsense. But that all being said, like, comment, subscribe. After party time. Follow us on the social medias. Okay, bye everyone. Bye. Have a wonderful time. Bye.